G'day and welcome to the City Point podcast, reviewing the first day of the final test between India and England at Ahmedabad. I'm joined again by Declan Hooper from wicketsandpickets.com. My name is Phil Dillon. Can't blame the pitch this time, I don't think, Declan. Just a little bit of more poor batting by England and frustrating day. Considering how many batsmen got starts and how many batsmen didn't get on with it, it's another day that they probably could have been on like 5 for 250. Michael Vaughan says, which would have been probably what would have been good on a pitch like that. Yeah, we're doing a bit, but not enough to be 205 all out, I don't think. And again, the mind games between Axar Patel and the England batsman. And he won them again for some reason. I don't know why.
You can't blame the pitch for this one, but I do think that it must be stained in the England top orders memories, because none of them look all that confident. I mean, Ben Stokes played well for his 50. Johnny Bairstow looked quite good as well, but a mixture of bad luck and poor shot selection. And England are in a similar place to what they've been for most of this series, aren't they?
And it's only by like a couple of, late blows from Jimmy Anderson that got them past 200. So, it's like when you've got your number 11 playing a reverse sweep, which is probably the shot of the day, it tells you how I think that just shows to show that there's no demons in this pitch, and it's all in the technique and it's all in your mind. Dom Sibley just looks like totally out of form. Played all round a straight one. When you got a guy coming on to spin, bowling spin after the third or fourth over, you shouldn't be expecting it to turn straight away. But obviously, having seen the last two pitches, that's what they're expecting straight away, and that's what's caused their downfall. I mean, Zach Crawley can't blame anybody but himself for what way he got out. And then Joe Root was probably out of the top six, the only one that wasn't culpable in his own downfall. He got a beauty from Mohammad Siraj and was absolutely stone dead. Johnny Bairstow was unlucky. Another umpire's call. I saw that thing with Shane Warne about the DRS of the umpire's call, and they talking about changing the rule where we get rid of umpire's call altogether. And I totally agree. If it's hitting the stumps, it's you take his decision out, the original decision out the equation, and if it's hitting the stumps by 50%, it's out. If it's not, it's not out. Other than that, Dan Lawrence looks okay. And then he goes and runs down the pitch and gets himself out as well. So,
I do think where England had success today was actually using their feet and moving down and negating the spin by using their feet. I think Dan Lawrence did actually quite a good job of that. And Ben Stokes, when he was looking on form, he was doing quite a good job of that. He did a couple of nice fours through the covers and that kind of thing by using his feet. But you're right. There's a fine line you have to balance there. I mean, they're facing probably two of the world's best spinners at the moment, so it's never going to be an easy task. I thought Ravi Ashwin. I mean, he only got 3 wickets. Which most people will be happy with. I thought he's just so canny. So lays traps everywhere for everyone, and most batsmen can't live with him. Axar Patel as well, and I thought actually, obviously the spinner's been getting a lot of the credit for this series, but Mohammad Siraj bowled really well as well, and there's a bit there for the seamers. I mean, you saw with Jimmy Anderson as well, and I think he probably deserves a little bit of credit because I think he started the downfall, if you will, of the England top order, and then moved it on to the spinners to kind of knock through the middle and the tail. But I think he got the wicket of Joe Root there and Johnny Bairstow. Johnny Bairstow looking relatively in form as well, and he looked like he was, on his way to getting in. to get them 2 wickets probably changed the tide of the Test match, I think.
Ben Stokes apparently suffering with a stomach bug. He did well to if he is, then he did well to do what he did. The Indian food or whatever it is will get you in the end, they reckon. And if the pitches don't get you, the food will.
Yeah.
But if he was going into the game with a little bit of a sickness cloud, then I'm surprised they didn't bring another seamer in. They could have bolstered the batting by putting Rory Burns up the top, and Dan Lawrence going in at 7 below Ben Stokes seems a bit weird.
I do think their plan must have been all along to put an extra batter in, and I don't really see too many other all-rounders that can bowl at the standard that Ben Stokes can. So I mean, to be honest, I thought the selection was probably fine. If Ben Stokes is sick, then obviously you've got to reshuffle, or you should have reshuffled. But I think that aside, I think the selection is probably okay.
Yeah.
You do have that luxury that Ben Stokes is he's probably one of the only players that's a world-class batter and a world-class bowler. So you can lean on him to bowl a few overs and, or open the bowling as they did. And to supplement Jimmy Anderson in them first couple of overs.
Yeah. It turns out that Jofra Archer's elbow was causing him pain as well, so he wouldn't have been able to play anyway. So that's why they didn't pick him in the end. It wasn't just because of the makeup of the team. But if you could have Dan Lawrence in the side, I'd wonder why he's not batting number 5 or 6 or putting him at 3 where he was before with Johnny Bairstow, and then put Johnny Bairstow down the order to see if he can capitalise when the bowlers get a bit more tired, and you know what I mean.
I do agree. I think Johnny Bairstow is he'd be more effective to playing the Rishabh Pant role, if you will. But I mean, I don't know. It's I'm not sure. I actually think, looking at it at the start of the game, I don't think I was too disappointed with the squad selection. I think they probably got it right. It's just the execution wasn't there again. And I mean, it'll be interesting to see how they go today, bowlers wise. But I think Dom Best deserves to get back in the team because he played all right, and he bats decently. It strengthens your tail a bit more. You can't really blame anything other than the batters today. They all got starts and didn't kick on with it. And I think in a certain way, like the pitches, they're not conducive to starts. You saw that in the last test that no one really got in. But today, people got in. So once you're in, you really should be kicking on with it.
Yeah, I think the only two that were unlucky were a bit like we said, Bairstow and Ollie Pope. Ollie Pope using his feet well to the spinners, and he looked a much better player when he was doing that. He very unlucky the way he got out. And then, like we say, umpire's call for Johnny Bairstow. I honestly couldn't have seen how he could have given that.
It didn't, from the eye test. It didn't look out. No. And I mean, once you saw the Hawkeye, I mean, it did hit. It looked like it was going to hit the bails, but I mean, you'd have to be. Like no one was confident there. Like even you saw by the appeal, it was kind of like a half appeal. To give that out, I think is it's pretty hard lines. And Johnny Bairstow, he reviewed it straight away, so he obviously didn't think it was out either. Like as we said, it's one of them ones where if it's hitting, it should be out. I think we both agree on that. And I mean, if you're going to take that into consideration, the ball, according to Hawkeye, the ball was going to hit the bails, so he probably would have been out. But I still think it was pretty hard lines on him.
But if the umpire hadn't given him out, he would have been not out as well. So that's
exactly
right. That's where it's wrong. So
exactly right.
It's if it's hitting the stumps by enough, then it's out. and we'll take that. But this umpire's call, whether he gives it or gives it not out, it shouldn't. You can't have two different decisions on the same ball.
No, and the other thing is, it's creating far too many talking points. I think in most matches we watch now, there's some kind of umpire's call or something like that that's going one way or the other.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, we shouldn't be talking about umpires at all. We shouldn't be talking about umpires at all. We should.
No.
And it's either out or it's not out. So if there's conjecture and if there's grey area, I think you need to flatten that grey area as much as possible.
True, absolutely. If you look at all the dismissals, Axel Patel, I don't know, like almost 70% of his wickets are bowled or LBW.
It's basically with that. It's the arm ball. It's the left hand. And you think that England would probably I'm sure they have looked at it and practiced it and all that kind of thing, but it's just so hard to play. It's just like if anyone on any surface, it's so hard to pick and so hard to play. I agree with you in the sense that these ones that got out early, you can kind of understand to an extent that, they are mentally scarred from the last couple of test matches. But to me, the ones that got in, there's no excuses from me personally. I think your likes of Dan Lawrence and your likes of, especially Ben Stokes, actually, good over by Washington Sundar to lead up to that, because you gave him a few ones that turned out and then gave him a straight one. And Ben Stokes just played all around it. And I do think once you're in, like, you can't be doing that. So it's like a straight ball. Like you like see the England greats like Kevin Peterson. As much as opinionated as he is right. You wouldn't be playing like all your Andrew Strausses and these kind of guys. They're not getting out like that, are they?
I wouldn't have thought so. No, I mean Peterson wouldn't get out like that.
No.
He'd find a way to get runs. You know, I was going to say, like Ben Stokes in his interview afterwards, he's saying these are the toughest wickets he's ever played on, and he's telling the young boys that these are the toughest wickets he's played on. And I don't know whether that's a good thing to do to give to put that doubt in people's mind.
And we talked about this the other day, the bunker mentality, and I do think that it can be counterintuitive because you've almost it sounds like they're defeated before they even started.
Yeah, that's a problem. I think that's a lot of it. I think a lot of it is in their heads, and I'm not there. We're not playing it. I don't know how I would do it in the same situation. And they're pretty young. It's a pretty young side, so they would never have faced conditions like this before. Even when you say they played in the IPL, but that's only like 4 overs of spin from Axel Patel. You can get away with that sort of stuff. He's not going to cause the same problems when he's bowling over after over after over and getting inside your head. So, India, they just grind you into the Ahmedabad dust, don't you? The Richie, that's what they're doing. And then they're just the longer you stay on the tour, the worse it gets. It's just because it's going to be in your head. That's what Michael Vaughan has said. The longer the tour goes on, worse players get, and it should really be the other way around. But you should be getting used to the conditions by the end of the tour. I put, like, from an Australian point of view, it doesn't bode well for an Ashes. I think if you're an England fan, really, like they say that in India test is a test of technique and Australia is a test of mental toughness. From the outside looking in, I don't think England look all that mentally tough by what you're saying there. And there'd be a few flags for me leading into the Ashes if that's the mentality within the group. But it'd be interesting to see how they cope with the same attack on England soil.
100%.
That will be the defining thing, I think. And then we'll know whether it's in the heads or not.
Just a quick word on Jimmy Anderson pick up a wicket early doors. 12 overs in India, 24 for 1. I thought Pujara and Rohit Sharma did a good job of just like not doing anything silly, just leaving almost everything that came their way. I think it probably sets them up quite well for today.
Yeah, it does. And Rohit Sharma's probably the best player spin bowling in the world, I think. And Pujara's not far behind. And then you've got a certain Mr. Kohli who hasn't got runs yet in this series, really. You've got 150 sitting in the hutch thinking, right, here we go. If Kohli gets in on that pitch, he ain't getting out. He's not going to throw his wicket away. So they've got to get Kohli early if he comes in. If they don't, then they could be batted out of this. And then that's where the problem lies with the side they've picked, is because they needed to get 450 with two spinners, three spinners. They needed to get that big score.
It did all line up to them with. I mean, they won the toss, elected to bat. So you are 100% right there. It should have just been most of yesterday and half of today. Put 400 on and see how they go on. But instead, they now only got 200. And I think you're right. I'd be worried. The early session today, Jimmy Anderson has a big role to play in this, because I think if he takes a couple of wickets, then the tide of the test changes. However, if they continue to do what they kind of did to him, I mean, he took the early wicket at Shubman Gill. It was a great ball too. But if Rohit Sharma and Pujara do what they do with him and just give nothing away, then I think it will be a long day in the field for England.
Oh, we'll see. It's as I say, we always say it. The first session is crucial.
Yeah.
Look, it's not over yet. I mean, I'm sounding like it's doom and gloom, but it's just going on past performances in the last couple of tests. But now they know that this pitch is not as got no demons in it at all. Unfortunately, it's a bit too late to realise that. They should be more confident in the second innings, but it depends on how many India get. That's the crucial thing. If India get 500, then it's this ain't going to be a draw. Yeah. England will not get enough runs to put India in any sort of trouble if they have to chase on the final day or whatever.
We'll be here to cover it again tomorrow. Thanks for your time, Ian, Phil.
Okay.
And we'll chat again soon, hey?
All right, mate. Thank you very much.